entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
If you're on the West Coast, this is noon. If you're on the East Coast of the United States of America. And I know we're all worldwide, so whatever time it is for you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. But today is Prime Minds Day. We are back. We're here, episode 9. And we have something special, again, for everyone, for all the Champion Ascensions and Prime Eternal holders out there, and everybody that's listening. We will be talking to the one and only, the brilliant Writer Ryan here in a few minutes. But first, all 5 of us are back together. The boy band is back together. Maybe we'll start a reunion tour. We're 5 deep today. Prime Minds, we're all together. How's everybody doing? And everyone good? You feeling good?
Yeah, this is Vita. Sorry, every time you say
like,
you call us,
am I on mute?
No, we can hear you. We're just letting you sit in silence. You call us a boy band, and every time I laugh. So I'm. This is Vita. I'm feeling good. I'm excited about what's to come, man. We had some pretty exciting drop this week. We've got stuff to talk about. We're talking about the master of lore himself. Like it's gonna be awesome, dude. Let's get it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, since there's 5 of us, man, and I've not seen anybody. We don't even know what each other looks like. But I'd imagine y'all are all handsome. So maybe we can do something like that. I don't know. I can't sing, though. How's everyone else feeling? Gonzaga, what's up? How you doing this Saturday?
Hey, pretty good. I don't know about the handsome bit, but yeah, I'm doing good. Who
said that?
I'm super happy about the video that was dropped. I don't even know how many times I've watched it and scrolled back and forth and try to look at every little thing and see if I can find something that they accidentally leaked. But yeah, doing good. And one thing real quick, I wanted to publicly apologize to Crypto Bobby, and all that went down. But yeah, doing good.
We're all good, man. We're in this together. I think we're all good. It's all love. It's nothing but love here at CA. Z Mackin, you're back, man. You left us last week. I think you got rejuvenated. You had a little trip through the woods. How you feeling today?
Wonderful, man. It's like a whole new world out here. No, and I think if we were to be a boy band, that Dip would be our Justin Timberlake.
He'll go solo and leave us. I already know it.
Oh no, he
get the Grammys.
I have a feeling he's the prettiest one that all the ladies would love.
Oh yeah, Dip, you're the draw.
No. It's been a good week so far. I got some good stuff going on in my personal life that I'm looking forward to. I've got nothing but hope going forward, and excited to get on and talk with you boys today about some Jam City and some champions.
That's what we do. Dip, last but not least, man, how you feeling this Saturday morning?
Hey, feeling good, a little under the weather, boys, you know that, but always excited to talk about champions, excited about the new lores coming out, trying to do the scavenger hunt, and especially bullish on that video.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right, let's get to it, man. We in a little bit, we're going to have Ryan join us, man, but there's always something going on. Every week, something new happens. Top of the mind right now, I think people still talking about this bloodbath in the overall crypto market. I'm looking at that. I think all of us, whether we like it or not, have some sort of stake in crypto. That's our way to get into this game, to get into NFTs. But looking at Champions Ascension, we're not to the moon yet, which is fine. But the floor is looking healthy. Other projects went, just straight up dead. Other projects are gone forever. Some NFTs, and some people have been saying NFTs are over. It was a fad, X, Y, and Z. I think if we're listening to this, if we're doing this podcast, we don't think that's we don't think that's accurate. Actually, I think that NFTs are the future. We're just still in the beginning. But Champions Ascension is looking okay. Dip, maybe you're the perfect person to talk a little bit about this. What are you thinking about our NFT project over here with the CA?
It's all about the fundamentals, man, and value investing. Like, I'm a big value investor, right? You find value in the company, you find can they scale? You find, are they organized? Have they had experience in doing this type of thing before, which is gaming? So especially in this market, right? There's a lot of bad catalysts right there out there right now with the Fed rates going up, with the war going on, right? So those are just a lot of negative catalysts that are really bad for the market. So if you're going to get into anything, you have to get into a company that has the right fundamentals, and that's why I think Champions is, it's not tanking like others, to be honest. Because people know the fundamentals are there.
Right. Who else has some thoughts on overall market, our NFT, our floor price? What you guys thinking?
I think the overall market itself is definitely, garbage right now. But looking at the markets this morning, everything seems to be slightly up a little bit. I don't know if it's the weekend sentiment. People are excited about coming into the weekend. It's the fact that spring seems to be in full bloom, plenty of places around the country, or there's just some unknown info out there that hasn't reached the masses yet. But it seems like people think we may have reached a bottom for now, but I highly doubt it. Dip is, right on the money. We got a lot of macro world factors that are affecting things that a lot of investors don't have the foresight to be able to take those into consideration. Unless you're talking about institutional investors who do a lot of research.
Honestly, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. What you got? Something, B?
Yeah, my sound went out.
I'll pick. Oh, it's all good.
Honestly, I don't even care. Like I'm just happy about that video I saw about the lore, or about Massina. I'm just hyped. So
I think back to what Dip was saying. It's the value investment part. Adapter of a company. If there wasn't anything like Web3 or anything like the blockchain, Jam City would have never said, "Hey, why don't you all, a group of you unknown random people, come in and invest in this project we have coming up?" It allows us a way to support something early, to become an early adopter of a project that we believe in. And if crypto and blockchain is the way there, I'm all for it. I'm just like Dip, just like I think all of us, we see the value in this company. We see the products it has put out before, and we just believe in the future and in this project, and we're here. So just like Gonzaga said, just like Dip said, just like everybody was saying, the overall market to me doesn't really mean a lot when it comes to this project. All right, we also have something special coming up, the NFT NYC, and I seen that Champions Ascension Discord put a little a request to go and vote for CA, to vote for Jam City as top NFT companies, NFT gaming. I already did that, so I want to amplify and echo that request. Go to the Discord, go to announcements, hit those links, and vote for Champions Ascension and Jam City to win some acknowledgement at the NFT NYC. I like that this is sort of a hidden gem. It's still sort of a secret. Something strange about way my mechanics and my psychology works. I like knowing something that other people don't know. But I know there's a lot of you that wants, and I'm sure, of course, Champions Ascension Jam City wants the acknowledgement, wants to get out there a little bit more, wants to see the floor rise. But I'm digging a small floor still. Maybe I can accumulate some more. What y'all think? And I don't want to stay here too long, but what y'all think about the NFT NYC? Is that something cool? What do you think overall about some of these conferences?
I think it's great for connecting. I think it's great for building relationships, especially in such a young market that the NFT is in right now, right? Still in the early stages. So, yeah, it's great for connecting, man. It's great to get out there and see what other companies doing, and also to learn. Definitely, because there's a lot to learn in this space.
Right. Maybe if I can get away from work, maybe I'll bring the wife to NYC. I don't know, y'all. It's coming up in a few weeks here, so I have to make plans soon if that's something we're going to do. And then you know what? We're not going to wait too much longer, but I want to mention one thing real quick. There was a video drop, but I think it's time for us to bring Writer Ryan out and talk to him about this video drop, talk to him about new lore, talk to him about everything Champions Ascension. Writer Ryan, I see that you are here. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. Can you guys hear me?
Ryan,
I hear you.
Yo, what's up? Hey.
We are huge fans, man. Much respect to what you're doing, the lore you're building, the way you're working with the game. I think we're gonna have a lot of questions for you. First of all, how are you feeling, man? How are you feeling about everything? Just how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I got my coffee. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Good. We won't keep it too long, man. We know it's a Saturday and all that.
Oh my God. But we got so much to talk about, though. There's so many things I want to get into.
I think we do, and I want to dive into it, man. So, we had a video drop. Gonzaga said he's been looking at it over and over again. I think he's trying to find some clues and everything. I think we all are.
Yeah.
What do you think about that video drop? Anything you can describe or tell us about when it comes to that?
Yeah, I mean, a million things. So, like, what are we looking at right now? So,
we're looking at this floating rock in the middle of there, right? I'm just gonna come out and say it. Like, we're speculating on a lot of things, but we want to hear from you.
Well, first off, let's just give props to the San Francisco team that has really been stepping up to make this place a reality, and I think it's coming together really nice. The first comment is the obvious one, which is like, this is all work in progress. Just to let everybody know, like, you can tell from the way it's kind of mapped. They're sketching out the space, and so a lot of these buildings are temporary buildings to help the artist give a sense of like, how big does this place need to be? What kind of things are we going to see? So bear that in mind when you're looking at some of these buildings. But some of the other buildings, I can tell you specific things about. But we can start with this big black obelisk. That's what we're calling it, the obelisk.
Yes.
It hasn't been mentioned before.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about it yet, have we? This
was mentioned in the latest lore? There was a slight mention of it for like 2 lines.
Yeah, so what happened there was they started to build this space, and I was able to look at it early on and actually write it into the lore. And that's like a perfect example of the coordination that, between the teams. This kind of thing happens all the time where someone's working on something and I'll look at it and I'll incorporate it in lore, or vice versa. I'll put something in lore and that will inspire the team to, include it. But so this big mysterious black rock is actually going to be the portal to the VIP space. And so you probably all remember that VIP space, right?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
the moon room.
Exactly.
Dip said that was a portal. The day it came out, we got on a call, and Dip said that's a fucking portal.
Yeah.
You want to call that out? Yeah.
Called it.
Yeah. That's going to take us to the moon?
Yeah.
Is that this rock, the obelisk takes us to the moon. All right, let's go.
Yeah, you're going to, I don't know exactly how, but you'll touch it or something like that. We'll figure it out. We'll make it cool. But
that's amazing. And there's the moon, then it seems like it's one of those social spaces, right? No fighting allowed.
That's the intention. We want a place for people to gather and hang out and, show off your Eternals or whatever you got. And that's what that place is supposed to be. So
maybe we can do, when that's out, we can do the podcast from the moon.
That would be amazing. That would be so cool.
Chilling in the moon room.
Yeah.
Yes.
The moon room.
Prime Minds coming to you live from the moon room.
Yep.
That space is going to be really cool. Something else we can see here. Oh, here, let's pause right here. What's that up in the mountain?
Cauldron of Fire.
You got it. Yeah, so that's something I'm really excited about too. We're starting to develop certain spaces, and you can see up there, there's the giant cauldron. We got, Mount Volcanus above it, and that thing's going to be belching smoke or whatever. One of the cool things we're starting to explore is, this is all temp stuff, but you can see the chains and the cauldron and the way that the building is kind of built into the side of the mountain. And that's all coming out of coordination with the lore too. And so if you read Eye of the Beholder, you'll start to see like, oh yeah, this Cauldron of Fire is kind of built in the side of a mountain and it comes in and out. And so you'll have these battlements that are outside and then, tunnels that go in and come in and out. And so what you're seeing right there is, again, like the artists are just sketching out what could be there. This isn't by final by any stretch of the imagination. But I think it's really cool that they started to kind of sketch out like, okay, here's where the space might be. Here's what it might look like.
Mm-hmm.
What
strikes me is the scale. But go ahead,
Gonzaga. Oh yeah, I was going to say just the. I don't want to go too much into the lore because of spoilers or whatever, but the way that they explained the space and the trials, it was totally awesome. I could totally imagine a game just doing all that, and it was really cool.
Yeah, all that space underneath the mountain and leading down and down to the trials and beyond. Yeah. I love that. I love the placement of this. I really love, like, I can't wait to stand in this plaza and just look up at that mountain. Like, it's like when it's finished, it's going to be phenomenal. And you can just imagine smoke and clouds passing in front of it and hear the distant rumble of the volcano as you're hanging out. It's just going to feel so cool.
So nice. You think for the players, it will be a nice view up at the summit up there? Yeah. Is it a place that eventually be able to move around, walk around, and take a look around?
Sniper froze eye view.
Yeah, you'll be able to. I mean, you'll be able to get up to the Cauldron of Fire. Remains to be seen what's up at the very top. I mean, it could just be open lava, like, you know. So
it could be dangerous. Watch out.
Unless, yeah,
some of your health bar.
unless you have a fire type, you know, you can't go up there. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. So, say for instance, someone goes up there, they can look around, they can see the Coliseum, they can see Massina City, and have a good bird's eye view of the thing. What else would you see looking out there? Are there lands far away from the city? What does that look like, or what will that look like?
We haven't sketched out how far the visibility is yet, or what that could look like. So I don't. I'm not sure. We definitely have the overhead, but you know, as you develop things, you got to figure out like what's technically possible. So we'll see what it looks like from up there.
Yeah.
In a while.
Looking into the early lore, there's like a lot of wilderness areas, high bushes, things like that, kind of outside the city.
Yeah, for sure.
All of that roamable. What kind of lands are outside of Massina City?
Yeah, so outside the city, we definitely have wilderness going on out there. There's farms out there. There's, you know, the Cerulean wastes we've talked about, the Villabru Mountains, the land of the Mountain King, Southern Savannah, Island of Navia we just brought in. So our plan is to have all these like explorable spaces, and obviously you can take your champions out there and have adventures and stuff. So we're gonna have like a quest system, so you can go out there and, you know, earn what you need to earn, or establish a farm, or establish even a city eventually, which would be really awesome if there was like a bunch of little, you know, community cities that were popping up.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, the video locked up my computer, just so people watching knows what's going on.
It's a still shot, so I'm sure they'll catch up. Let me throw one more question in here, but I'm sure the pry minds. Oh, go ahead.
Ryan's talking about having all these other locations and things to do for quest wise and stuff. Talking about quests, are you going to be including the lore in type quests? Like is there going to be an actual story background so we get to learn more about the characters, or any kind of lore that you're developing included in these quests? So it's not just one of those things where it's like, you know, go farm 100 wheat, or, you know, simple quests like that. Are there going to be more involved things that you and the lore team are going to be adding to the game?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I don't think I could work on a game if we didn't have some kind of lore in the quests and like some kind of cool story to draw you through. I'm never happy with just like get 10 of these items, you know. I'm like, give me some story to go with it. So we'll make sure that happens. We're gonna have NPCs. We're starting to develop NPCs with personalities and backstories, and some of them will be quest givers, and so some of them will have, you know, stories that let you know about them, or could reveal stories about the backstories of the houses and all that. So yeah, rest assured, there's gonna be cool stories to follow as you do the quest. Oh, so stop right here. So this big building over on the right with the kind of flanged roofs, That's a place you've heard quite a bit about. That's the Sleeping Carcadon. And the plan is,
Oh,
yeah, players are going
we
to
got the
be
blueprints. We have the leak for those.
yeah, so you'll be able to enter in there, and I don't know how much we've talked about what you can do in there, but several mini games have been planned, and there's a mini game for this outside area too. So when you get in here, there will be plenty to do, and you can go in and out of the Sleeping Carcadon. You can socialize in there. Um, we have different spaces that have different utilities within the Sleeping Carcadon, so that should be super awesome.
That is nice.
So Ryan, quick question. What's the overall plan? What shape will the world be in when the gates open to the theme park?
Well, in terms of the lore, there's a couple things I definitely want to cover. So I want to get all the houses introduced. We haven't covered all the houses. We've done the big three, we've done the fire, but I want to get the water, air, and mountain done. And so you'll know a lot more about the various houses. Go into the city, you'll know, kind of the backstories of the houses that you're pledging to. I also want to do proper introduction for all the races so far. We haven't really got into like the Grondels and the Ilgra. We haven't talked too much about where the Ceres and the Vitra are from and why, what it's like to be a dragonkind. I definitely want to have a political system in place so that people can start to understand if there's voting on world events, like how they interact with that. And then the final thing is I want to have a kind of a forever story that people can react to. So right now, the lore is all about things that are really in flux. When you come into the world, that will still happen. There will still be things that are going to be going on every day, every week, every month. But I also want an overall kind of sense of like where the story is. I don't want to talk about too. I'm trying to hint without saying what it is. But basically, it's for anybody on any given day. You can come in and kind of know what you need to do, even if you're not following the lore. You can just kind of know your way around, I guess.
You're talking a lot. So you're the writer, Ryan. You're the writer. It seems like you're the chief of the lore. Sounds like when some folks might have ideas, and there's a lot of creative people on the team. We've interviewed a few of them, but we're wondering, and I think we've asked this question to Ice Toad. We've asked this question to Chris Massina, and what did I say his name? Johnny Massina.
Johnny. Oh boy. Yeah.
I knew it was a C. And I'm wondering, and then we had a Chris on here too. But I'm wondering how do you all work together? And does the lore start with you, then the game gets developed? Did the developer say, oh, we can't do this in the lore because we can't develop that, it doesn't make sense for the video game? How does that work process go? If you can explain some of that.
Yeah, sure. So it does take a lot of coordination, right? Because you have the tokenomics side, you got Zero Cool and the brilliant minds in Toronto. They're thinking about like the specifics of the game design. Then we have sort of the art and design side, the combat team, like all these different teams. And basically, we have a giant Slack channel, and the Slack channel is divided up into kind of disciplines, and we talk a lot. And early on, talked a whole lot with, Zero Cool and that team, Tom Tang, all those people, about kind of the basics of like stuff like breeding and stuff like burning and some of the basics of like how the game needed to work. And then they would have that idea and then kind of come to the lore and say, what can we develop to create a fiction around this that makes sense? And I'm definitely the face of the lore, but I can tell you, Johnny comes up with stuff. Ice Toad comes up with stuff. The other team members, you've seen them, Troy, Kim, like they're writing, but they're also helping to contribute to where the writing touches the game design. And it can go back and forth too, because some of the lore then informs like what you're seeing right here. The art team and I have been talking a lot, like once or twice a week, about, hey, what kind of buildings and what architecture would they have? And they're asking questions about level of technology, which is something kind of weird about Massina. Is like it sort of is medieval and it's sort of Roman, but it's also got high tech things going on. So it takes a lot of coordination to come up with something that feels right. So we have basically it all comes down to this giant Slack channel, and we have a lot of meetings, and we get together and go, so what is this? And we talk through it and figure it out.
That seems so fun. It's a lot of communication.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Discord a little bit. People jumping in and out.
It's something we've commented on. Like, it seems like kind of everybody you work with is a writer of some regard, right? A lot of the names you've mentioned we've seen in the lore. But just for you specifically, do you have any, literary heroes or places where you draw inspiration from when you approach stories?
Yeah, man, my bookshelves are full of like influences, like obviously like Tolkien, right? J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, the Game of Thrones, G.R.R. Martin. He's amazing, and he really brought like that shades of gray, complicated characters thing, which I love. And if you know my stories, you'll know that my characters tend to be like very conflicted. But also I read people like Raymond Chandler, who used to do the Philip Marlowe novels, hard-boiled detectives of the 50s, and old poems. I have like 10 translations of Beowulf on my shelf right now, on the Green Knight, Gawain and the Green Knight. So I kind of tap into all that stuff when I come to write.
Oh, nice. Great stuff.
Yeah, I added a quick question about, going back to the whole back and forth between lore and development. I just wanted to see if the lore would be involved with like different quests in the game, and so that you can kind of discover some of the background and some of the history of the world, like through questing, and just kind of see if CA values interesting quests and stories.
Yeah, my ambition is to have it kind of be like it should be like an RPG, right? It should have quests that have a beginning, middle, and an end, that have like interesting storylines. So even as you're earning or leveling up or whatever you're doing, you're not just doing it for that. Like, you're also following a story, and it could be opening up other quests as you discover more. Like, you discover another city that opens up only if you go through a quest and learn about it, or you save somebody and they're like, oh, now I can tell you where I came from and we can go there. And that's my ambition for this, is to really feel like an RPG, which is,
that's cool.
Yeah, something I've been into.
So you can, that's actually a pretty cool idea. So you can unlock access to places through quests and through the storyline. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I'm also curious, like, does writing for a blockchain game, has that changed any of the way that you're able to approach some of that, like unlocking things, or the way that you're able to roll out lore and quest lines? Does that have any impact?
Oh yeah. It's had so much impact. Like, I can't even tell you how different it is in a cool way. I've been really enjoying it. It's so different to start with a community and build the game from there. To be even having this conversation with you right now, I've never had that privilege or opportunity in like 20 years or 25 years I've been working in games, like, to talk to the community of players, and in this case investors, before we develop. So even hearing from you like, oh, we're really interested in quests that have like stories, that puts that as a priority. Something I was going to do anyway, but it's a good example of like, you care about it, I care about it. It's really good to hear from you. And developing the lore is the same way. So putting the lore out there and seeing what people respond to kind of helps us tweak, like, oh, what stories are popular, what people want to hear about. I got some feedback from the community about, hey man, where's our Grendel story at? And I thought, of course, like, we got to do that. And so things like that are like, I think blockchain is the only place you can really work that way.
And it's brand new.
It's brand new, and it's really cool. And it's cool that we have no rules, and we can have a chat like this on the weekend, and like one's, my corporate, overlords aren't coming down. In fact, they want us to interact. So it's so cool. It's so like freeing.
It's so cool. It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure to talk to a lot of brilliant people, right? Especially you. And I'm getting an echo right now. Oh, all right. So also, this is a question. I'm always fascinated about writers and the writing process, right? It just seems like something tough to do. Everybody has ideas. Everybody likes stories, but to actually sit down and write things out. I'm getting an echo again.
Sorry, that was me.
Sorry.
No. I'm messing with settings. Sorry about that.
Speak about your writing process, Ryan. Like and I know we just asked you about what your muse and inspirations are, but when it actually comes to pumping these stories out, what does your process look like? Do you have to be very disciplined? Do you wait for inspiration to strike you? What does your actual writing process look like?
Yeah, it's a ton of procrastination followed by, maniacal typing at the last minute. Is basically how I do it.
I think that's everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Potential schoolboy feeling right there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
would say for the test. That's how we get ready for these podcasts too. That's exactly what we do.
I think about. I usually start with the characters, and I'm only lying a little bit, but like I will bounce around the characters in my head for a while before I figure out like what's the story behind the story. Like with the most recent season, the big story is like the emergence of a new villain. And so no matter what else is happening plot-wise, like people running here and there and getting things into Tome of War and blah, 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 really knowing the story behind the story helps to like frame it all up. Like, what is this all in service of? And, for Sephiroth and Paxa, it's like learning to trust, learning maybe even to love. Again, it's a story about what they're going through as characters. They're running around, they're fighting people, there's arms flying, there's, there's swords chopping, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean anything unless you kind of anchor it with a character. Like Johnny's story is all about coming of age, learning some hard truths about yourself or about people you care about. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the process. Like really start with that, like what's the heart, and then layer on the things that are super awesome, the weird weapons and the strange beasts and the odd locations, like those kind of come later.
Okay, so you get to know your characters. So I can see that. Like if you get to know your characters, you would know what they would do. They kind of take on a life of their own.
Yeah, and you want to be on like a relatable story that people kind of read and go, oh yeah, I've had a best friend that went through some shit with me or something like that, right? And then you kind of have an anchor for everybody, and you can start throwing in croc hammets and crazy stuff, right? And you won't lose anybody because they can kind of follow the heart of it.
So Ryan, one of our community members, Fox 1018, wanted to ask this question. He says, do you plan on having short story books about the past, history, or other lore that can trigger maybe side quests or treasure hunts within the world of Massina?
Yeah. Like that would be really cool. I think we've been talking about actually making, just reminding me, like we've talked about making that audiobook, and we have actual books that we're thinking about collecting the lore and stuff. I don't know if within the world, if that's what Fox is asking, that's kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah.
we got...
Oh, go ahead.
No, we got a smart creative community, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Reading all these lores and in the first Karkadon story, and then when you go to June and the other characters, this really reminds me, because I love it, and I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones, and a bunch of stories were happening in different times in Game of Thrones, and then it was kind of like all the stories were brought together into one big event. It kind of seems like this is what's happening with these stories. Would you say that's kind of in the area you guys are going for? Like, especially with releasing the Titans and maybe, the Absolute coming into the scene.
Yeah. You're picking up you're picking up the vibe. Yeah, so that kind of forever story I was talking about, I think we're really spinning up to who our White Walkers are going to be, for lack of a better term. But the thing that everybody was jockeying for position in Game of Thrones, there was a ton of stuff going on, but in the background there's this like winter's coming, right? And so I think we're spinning up to that, and that's where I'd love to have that be known to everyone by the time the full game kind of launches, so that everybody's also got that in their head. They're not going to be White Walkers, but yeah, like that idea.
So that's some of the PvE aspect then is what you're talking about.
Yeah, like who are we going to be fighting against? Who's all of Massina going to be?
Yeah, who's the bad guy?
Who's the big bad guy? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're building up to that. And I wanted to kind of start it as two reasons. Like, why I kind of wanted to start it slow and small so that people could jump on instead of trying to download, turn on the fire hose of lore. But also I didn't want to go too far with anything without making sure the community was into it. Because there's a direction you could take it that people are like, I'm not that into it. I just want to make sure every step of the way I'm kind of like, how much are people vibing on this? So that's the second reason why it hasn't just all come out yet. Working blockchain is cool like that. You can just kind of release things on a weekly basis and check in with the community and see what people are into. And I love working this way.
Nice.
And
did we have the question? Go ahead.
Leaks, right? You're dropping small leaks about potential gameplay stuff. Like started off with Elmore and the Geckoid Racing, which we've found will possibly be like a small side game in the Sleeping Carcadon, and then it got into Giotto and the Trials of Anointment, talking about the Bone Grinder, which I personally hope will be something that we can do in the Coliseum. Like, can you explain to us how you what's the process with the dev team and like figuring out what you can put in the lore that's kind of hints onto the game mechanics, and if that's something you guys do on purpose, or like is that something that's after the thought, like a happy accident, confluence of events just come together, stars align?
Yeah, that's definitely on purpose, and I'm really glad when people pick up on it. Sometimes it's very subtle, sometimes not so much. The June story, the whole Maestro story, was in preparation for the mint, and I really wanted to give people a sense of what it might be like to do the first mint. And so the whole story is like what it would be like to own your champion and put them into battle, and so the lore's really been there from day one. Even like if you go back and read Carcadon's Tale, it's totally an introduction to the world in the sense of like it's almost like a design doc for the game, where you're like, this is what's going to happen, and this is how the houses work, and this is how imbuement works. And so for season 3, one of the things I'm really excited about doing, and we haven't locked down season 3 yet, but I'm aware that the combat team is really starting to get their stuff all together. They have it kind of all laid out mechanically, what needs to happen, strategically, how it's all going to be balanced. And so I'm excited for season 3 to be more about the actual fighting in the arena, and what we can do there is start to let the community through the lore, like what are the moves, what are the things that families can do, what do your divine pieces do, like what does a tail do, what does claws do. So that's a way that like lore and the game design come together really nicely, is we can write about it, get people all hyped, but we can also kind of educate you, like here's what your champions can do, what you can expect of them, and how you might use them in battle or balance them against each other.
So real quick, the lore will be sort of a preview into what the game mechanics will do. So we gotta do our reading. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're really interested.
I saw that in the trial with the Emperor and his friend.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Vitus. Yeah, they're literally having an arena battle, and then somebody else caught. I can't remember who it was. I wish I could give a shout out, but some clever person caught the fact that I was referring to staking in one of the. I called them the smoldering ones, and it was like 10 Ogra that had been they'd been pledged to the house for a year or something like that, and they were going to sit there and like hang out at the house and serve the house, and then in return they would get more powerful and would get more essence. And somebody's like, "Wait a minute, that sounds like staking," and I was like, I did a little Dr. Evil thing, put my pinky to my mouth. Really, that's interesting. So we try to hint stuff like that all the time.
One of those that actually caught my attention as I was looking back through the lore is in the one of the Maestro episodes where June and Fidelis are fighting, and there's this talk of I believe it's Animus.
Yeah,
just kind of this spirit bond almost between the Maestro and the champion. But now we know we're the Maestros. So like, is that an actual function that's going to be in the game where there's some sort of bond that we can build between our Prime Eternals or our challengers or whatever they might be that would strengthen them in battle? Or is that known yet? Or
I think it's more like we were looking for an explanation why why Maestros are so powerful in that sense. And obviously as a player, you control your characters, and we were looking for a fictional kind of analog to that, or like a parallel. And so we came up with that idea of like anima. Like that anima is you investing time and money in your Maestro and in your champions, or you on the joystick, helping them to compete. That's that like mystical energy. That was the only way that we could explain it. I just wanted to give a nod to, the humans behind the champions who are really giving them power or giving them direction in a very necessary way.
When it comes to gameplay, will people be able to play Maestros as well as champions, or what will that look like?
I think mainly in the arena you're going to be playing the champions. I don't know about outside. I think you'd want to play your champions. They're so cool looking. I mean,
everywhere.
There's no.
Walk.
You just want to take them out for a walk. They're awesome. We haven't really talked about people playing Maestros per se, like walking around as a human.
Okay.
I just think the champions are going to be so awesome. You're going to want them walking around all the time.
And Ryan, what's happening to June and the other characters from the Maestro in season 1?
Yeah. So we've seen Eugen. Eugen popped up again, and she's really going on her own arc. And she started off as kind of a rebel, working for Prometheus. Now we've seen in some of the latest lore that Prometheus is going dark. And the question is Eugen going to follow him? We know she was kind of a cool person at one point, and she was friends with June, and he's a good guy, and now he's working for the Emperor. So what's going to happen with those two? Are those two friends going to meet again in some aspect? Are they going to be on opposite sides of the conflict? I would say keep your eyes peeled. I think it will probably be a parallel for a lot of the community, where you're like, hey, we all came up in Discord together, but there's going to be a moment when we are going to choose our side, so to speak, and what's that going to be like? So yeah, they're coming back, and Eugen in particular would be very interesting because there's a part of her destiny which lies completely in the hands of the community, and it's going to come out of that the live role-playing game that Captain Chris is going to host. So that brings us to the ARG. Winning the ARG is the only way that you can participate in the role-playing game. It's going to be a Champions-themed role-playing game, and you can decide the fate of some characters, not just Eugen, but a couple other people. So I I definitely encourage you all to get in there and start working on that ARG.
Let's talk about that real quick. So will the folks that maybe figure that out or successful in that scavenger hunt, or the ARG, will they be featured in the game? Will they be immortalized somehow?
Yeah.
What is that looking like?
Yep. So obviously they're gonna have. So what will happen is whoever wins the ARG, there will be several people probably. They're going to be included in kind of a press release like we've seen before from the Emperor. Whatever happens will happen, and they'll be mentioned in that, and then they'll go on to compete in the role-playing game. And the role-playing game is going to have a couple of key decisions in it, and that is going to be incorporated into a lore that I am going to sit down and write after that game is over. Again, maniacal typewriting as fast as
Coffee?
I can. Yeah, a lot of coffee. And so, yeah, they're going to be like immortalized in the lore, and probably decisions that they made during the role-playing game. I can incorporate. Hopefully, there'll be cool stuff that I can put into the lore, and that will be like a permanent kind of photo album, I guess, in a weird way of what they did.
Ryan, I'm gonna level with you. There might have been some ARG questions amongst us, but I think some of our really brilliant members here, I think Gonzaga specifically, a few others, the Dip, they might not want to ask any of those questions or get alpha out of you about that, because I think they're trying to figure it out and keep some of those secrets close. Is that the case, guys? Or do you got anything on that? Or do you got questions?
Well, let me see.
Question. Go ahead, Gonzaga.
No, I'm just saying my lips are sealed.
Gonzaga's on the case.
I did want to give kind of a rundown for people. I don't know if everybody's really familiar with ARG, and I don't know how much we've really explained it, but like for people who kind of are maybe a little bit fuzzy on what I'm talking about, the way it's going to work is there's going to be clues that get dropped in the Discord, the Twitter, and the Instagram, and they'll look like, could be somebody saying something, could be a biography, could be a keyword that gets dropped, and that, if you find that, will lead you. You're gonna have to scour through all the channels and look for it. That will lead you to something else, another clue, another word, another name, something. That will lead you to something else, blah blah blah, and you'll be bouncing around looking for it. It won't necessarily be easy, but in case you weren't like really sure what that looks like, I want everyone to get out there and start like really combing through what's out there. And the series of clues will lead you to kind of the final answer. People were asking, how do I contact Captain Chris? Because I think I know what it is, but Captain Chris is going to ask a really specific question at some point. And this question will have a very specific answer, and that's how we'll know who knows. I hope that's okay. That's a good explanation.
I was going to ask, that was my question, was the answer to what question, but we will see the question in the future date.
Yes.
Okay.
And when that question happens, if you know, you'll know exactly what he's asking. And he'll say, this is it. And people who don't know or haven't been following will be like, I don't even know what that means. But those of you who figured it out will be like, I know what he's talking about. And you'll be able to answer, and you'll be able to give a clear answer. So don't worry about that.
And is the first clue out yet to start off that scavenger hunt, the ARG? Is that out there? Yep.
The first clue is out there. It's actually out there twice because we were like, nobody's seen it. I saw some. There's a second clue also that's out there as well. And I saw, I will say this, I did see somebody poking around in the right place. I don't want to say any more than that, but I was like, okay, somebody's maybe. So people are kind of getting the right idea. But I want to encourage you to get everyone to get out there. And there's going to be a bunch of more clues. So don't worry if the first couple start off slow. There'll be plenty more.
And Ryan, just
drop slowly. Is it something that if someone had, intense speculation skills like us prime minds may have, if with what's out there already, could they already have the answer and figure out like get the idea of what the answer would be to Captain Chris's unasked question yet?
No, because it's going to be so specific. I don't want to give it away, but his question is going to ask you like for almost like a yes or no answer. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going to be, you won't be able to kind of speculate what it might be.
You'll have to know it.
You'll have
You
to
have
know
to
it's
found
really
it.
specific. Yeah, I don't want to say any more, but it's I'm trying to think of a good like example that wouldn't spoil it too much. But yeah, it's not. You don't have to put together a theory. You have to follow a trail of clues to
Find something.
something. Yeah.
I get it. And so then when the question is asked, is the first, it's, first come, first serve, the folks that reach out and answer the question first?
Yeah.
And then how many?
Yeah, I think he's looking for about 6 winners. And depending on how that rolls out. And then I'll let him talk about more about how he's going to select people. But I think he's looking for you can represent yourself or you can represent your house. I think he said before. Chris has he has it figured out like how he wants to do it. So I'm probably getting it all wrong, but yeah.
No, that's some great insight. We're loving it.
And Ryan, I do have 2 questions just for you real quick. Just for those of us who don't know, because I actually just learned this like a week ago. What does ARG stand for?
Yeah, it's a augmented reality game. And it came from, I mean, they've been doing these for a while. The one that I remember back in the olden days was called Majestic. And Majestic was like a game where you started on your PC, but then it would send you messages on your phone and it would like have you call phone numbers which would give you a clue, and then you follow like the voicemail would give you a website and you go there, and then when they launched, like I think it was Halo 2, they did this massive ARG called I Love Bees, and it was like started off on this guy's like beekeeping website, and it got taken over by an AI, and the AI started dropping clues, and it was super cool. But essentially, yeah, you just follow these like weird clues all over the internet, and it would give you a website or a keyword or something or phone number. Yeah, so it kind of comes from that. But yeah, augmented reality game. I guess because it takes place in the real world. I guess because we're using Discord, Twitter, and Instagram.
Sure, absolutely. And my second question is not actually related, but I am seeing on the stream here, there is a chonk cat meme being displayed. What can you tell us about cat memes and how they fit into your creative process?
The cat meme. Yeah, so like a while ago when I was before Jam City, I was at Telltale, and I was the director of narrative design at Telltale. And one thing I had to do is give a lot of presentations to help talk about what is narrative design, how does it work, what is the unification between writing and gameplay. And sometimes when you're giving a presentation, it gets boring and people kind of tune out. So I throw a cat picture in there, and that became one of my philosophies, is like never go too long before you put a cat meme. And then the big fat boy was one of my favorites. I loved him because I did this thing about like risk and commitment and the gameplay tension between, when you're playing a game, you have like a risk and then you have something you want to commit to. And I just thought he was really funny because he's like trying to hop up on this table and he's like eternally halfway between. He's kind of up and kind of not. And I just always thought that was funny, like the space between, risk and commitment when you jump up on the table but you're too fat to make it.
Let's get into that. We've been all around the world with you, Ryan, just now, but I wanted to get into even something more about you as a writer. I'm honestly fascinated about people that can sit down and have creative minds, think things out, and write them out. When did you realize that you wanted to pursue this as a career, like writing? And then when was it? How did you get to writing for games themselves?
Yeah, I think I've been writing since I was like a little kid. And I remember my first story was like a really bad Star Wars story where I loved Han Solo and I loved Boba Fett. And so like I made up a character that was Han Solo's brother, but he was also a bounty hunter. You know, it was like that kind of like terrible story where like he's gonna be everything cool that I ever want to be. And so that was like my first like story that I remember writing. And from then I just kept writing and writing. And I didn't really know like I could have a career doing that. I became a game designer first. And through game design, I realized, oh, we need dialogue written or we need, lore written for the games. And that's when I kind of realized, oh, wait, like I could be that writer. And so I started doing that at LucasArts, writing for Star Wars a lot. Yeah, and then, Telltale is obviously, writing was a huge part of what we did. And when I came to Jam City, we were just launching Harry Potter, and Harry Potter is now at the point where there's been more written for the Harry Potter game than is actually written in all of the novels that have ever been written. So we've we've exceeded the word count, which is kind of cool. And now
That's
Champions
amazing.
is like a whole new avenue for what lore could be.
Wow.
That's got me
Now you're building-
excited on several different levels. Like just knowing that you were a game designer first and then a writer second. It's got me excited.
Yeah, we're learning something we're learning something new every time. It's like we thought Ice Toad is just a designer. We found out that he's also a writer. We thought Writer Ryan was just a writer. We found out he's also a game designer. So,
it makes me think the depth of this game is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I think so too. Every time I talk to this team, we have these amazing discussions, but I also know that this crew is capable of pulling it off. Like it's not just pie in the sky because I know each one of them. I know their backgrounds. I know what they've done before. And Bogota in particular, they've been right out there like as the vanguard of developing the actual software. And like Ice Toad, Hyro just blows me away constantly. His team, that studio is amazing. Now we've got San Francisco in. They're starting to make stuff like, and Toronto's out there working in the background diligently, putting together all the tokenomics and everything underneath. And every time I talk to Zero Cool, my brain explodes because dude's so smart. So like, I'm super stoked about where this is going.
So a big thing that I have, and it's a big mystery, and what's going to happen with Prometheus and the Emperor?
That is the big question. And that is going to be part of the finale. So my answer to you is everybody get in there, solve this ARG, get into the role playing game, and help me figure that out because there's a couple ways that it could go. And I'm putting that in the hands of the community as one of the big lore. At Telltale we did choices and we like to branch things like that. The big choices. So if you ever played the Game of Thrones game, like the end of that was a pretty big branch, and that's something I worked on. So I want to have us have some of these big lore choices, but I want the community to help decide. So these are two major characters, Prometheus and the Emperor. They have a really interesting relationship, which if you read the latest lore, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, help me help me figure out where this is going for season 3 and what you want that to look like.
Nice. Okay, Ryan. There's a segment that we do. It's called Prime Time. Before we get into it, when it came to the characters themselves, were you thinking of that? Did you have a role in creating, the different families, the 12 families, the way the characters looked? How did that process come about?
I think that was like 90% Ice Toad, and
okay,
he brought a whole bunch of those families to the table. And he and I kind of like worked on the backstories a little bit, but that was a lot of him. And to me, it really feels like he's a genius. So I love every time he comes to the table with something creative. I'm like blown away. But
right,
yeah. So it's really he makes my job real easy because he gives me something incredible, and then I just like run with it.
Yeah, we talked to him. We picked up the genius vibes for sure. Here too today. Yeah, I think like one more question, but yeah, stick around, please. I think we have a quick question, another question.
You mentioned that you wrote for LucasArts for Star Wars. You came to Jam City when you guys were doing the Harry Potter game. And you've done Game of Thrones stuff. So you've come into projects that are already developing off of, already established name brands that already have lots of other media and different revenue streams that are already incorporated into the project, right? The idea of what you're writing. Whereas Jam City now with Champions Ascension is going the opposite route, where they're starting and giving you the opportunity to develop this game and with the other team members and build from there, and just kind of going off of other revenue streams that the Prime Minds were talking about with Johnny Cass and Massina last week. Do you guys have any intentions of taking Champions Ascension outside of just the video game, like developing novels? Because I remember when I was younger, I read like Star Wars novels. Warhammer 40,000 has tons of novels out there, and they're just other ways to branch the IP outside of just the original platform. Is that something that you would be interested in doing? And if you have any ideas of Jam City's interest in that?
Yeah, we're like 100% interested in that. In fact, there's some things going on right now behind the scenes that kind of point that direction. I think Champions would make an amazing set of novels. I think it would make a really cool set of graphic novels or comic books. The latest story from Johnny, some of the images that happen in that would, like, Johnny was joking, like, he was pointing in one of the scenes with the Necromancer beast, and he's like, this is the front cover, and I think it would be incredible. So yeah, and we're still working on that audiobook. I think that would be like maybe our first test of how it would feel to do something more immersive or different media. But yeah, God, I would love to do books and graphic novels and stuff.
I need
like
the
Netflix
audiobook
special like Arcane did for League of Legends.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to watching.
Can't wait for all that content to come out. But yeah,
that would be amazing.
All right, so yeah, let's pivot into the prime time. Stick around, but first, a word from our sponsor.
And now for a word from our sponsor. You're a champion, and you work hard. So how do you unwind after a long day in the Coliseum? With Ville Brew cigars. Our leaf is harvested by Tarkadon farmers and cured in the warehouses of Massina for 7 years before being rolled by experts. Ville Brew cigars are favored by the winner of the Diamond Hands Fighting Expedition 2 years running. Ville Brew, when only the best will do.
That was a word from Villa Brew Cigars. There's a lot of nice land, a lot of nice farmland. We can grow some tobacco, so it's going to be great. And we can kick back, chill out, smoke some cigars, enjoy the scenery. So we're over here. We're in prime time now. Let's get some suggestions. What do we have? We want to give a Prime Eternal It's Time to Shine. We want to take a look, see what its strengths will be, see if there's any weaknesses, see if it can hold up in the arena. Who has a prime time suggestion for us today? What do we got?
376.
Followers. Joe Dirt called out 376, so let's take a look at that one for Joe.
376.
Joe, who also goes by Farley Style, for anyone who doesn't know.
Well, that's Farley Style.
Yeah.
Farley,
I think he was
he has a legendary tail.
There it is. Yep,
Divine Tail right there.
All right.
Yep. Then. So core essence is death. We see a lot of death on these shows. So let's give death its time to shine. But let's look at some arcane life maybe next time. But anyway, I love the death. Actually, most of the ones I'm holding is death. I love the Whisperer. I think he was the first ones featured in some of the lore. And he has the matching tail there, which we know when you match the tail and it's a divine part, that's going to make him pretty strong in the arena. I think we got some of that alpha with Ice Toad.
Divine and pure.
Divine and
That's
pure
gonna be
together.
extra right there. But I
He's
mean,
got some.
he's lots of arcane in this guy. You know what I mean? So he'll be a little bit, lots of arcane, a little bit of death, a little bit of life. He'll be a nice, well-rounded fighter, I think.
The war paint is life, which is like probably a passive ability. So maybe he kind of regens health or something.
Or maybe it could be a spell that protects it against maybe arcane.
Bubble, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the rare Sorfin wings, that's the arcane. I like the look of these wings. They're a little bit small and discreet. You know, I like the look of these. And then, you know, when the death essence, and we know this is true, this is in the lore, it was talked about in the Medium article. Life has sort of an advantage over the death essence, so life essence will have a little bit of the advantage. But having these arcane parts and having the rare rings and arcane parts gives it that little bit of advantage over life. So maybe he can be a little bit more protected if he, you know, steps into battle with a life eternal. So, you know, the combination, the matchup, the skill, all that plays a role. But
This guy definitely does not seem like he'll be an easy pushover, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And aren't the Whisperers really good gamblers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they can see the future.
Don't want to go against Farley over there and Sleeping Karkadon when he brings this guy in, eh?
Right, and that's the other interesting part is there's all the games, and yeah, Ryan just told us the Sleeping Karkadon. There's going to be little mini games in there and everything, like different things you can do. And of course, we know Ice told us, a few people told us, the AMAs. They said that a lot of these parts, the divine parts, the pure parts, will have a lot to do with even these games on the side, the mini games that they're developing as well. So, yeah,
I don't want to put Ryan on the spot, but Ryan, if you had to give us a 2-sentence lore for this particular champion, what would it be?
Oh man, I don't know. You put me on the spot.
What's his story?
I want to see that frantic typewriter in your mind.
Greatest gambler at the butcher block. Everyone's jealous of him. Let's see. Something's gonna happen based on that. Is he gonna take it too far, or is he gonna ride it all the way to the top?
They're jealous. You better watch his back.
That's our question. Joe Dirt Farley style. Is he gonna take it too far, or will he back off?
Nice. I guess Farley will be the one to know.
Yeah.
That answer. This is great. Yeah. So yeah, we'll do the one prime time. Everybody, you know, every week we'll do. Well, yeah, sometimes we do the prime time, right? But it's really cool to lift up one of these prime Eternals that folks work so hard on, and give them their time to shine in the spotlight. We're just doing one today, guys.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And we had a long conversation with Writer Ryan just now. Ryan, let's round this out, man. Let's wrap it up. First of all, thanks for spending part of your Saturday with us. We love doing this. You know, we're here because we're really big fans. Everything together, the lore, the way the game looks, how everything's working together, how you and all the developers are working together. It's amazing. We're floored. We love it. We're big supporters, as you know. So just anything you want to leave, tell to the community, let us know, or, you know, how you feeling about the project moving forward?
I love this. I love Prime Minds. I love this format. I'm kind of like, I hope that we continue to do this when the game comes out, because this kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you guys ever watched, Walking Dead, and then they had Talking Dead afterwards.
Yes.
Like that's kind of what this show reminds me of. You know, like to be able to talk about it at length and with different creatives, and then eventually it'd be really, really cool to have obviously maestros and come on and talk about their strategies. And I'm looking forward to, I mean, obviously I kind of know more about where the game is going, but like I'm kind of looking forward to where Prime Minds is going.
Is Writer Ryan looking at our white paper, guys? Is he looking at our business plan right now?
Reading our minds. I think that's the most hypest, like that's the most encouraging hype thing I've heard since we started the show. I appreciate that. Mac, and how you feeling? Z-Mac, and how you feeling after 1 week off?
I mean, I'm definitely pumped still. I'm actually been browsing through OpenSeas, been looking about picking up another one. You know, I've got a small stable, but I want to pick another one up, and I think it might be gonna be about that time for me. So, you know, just even more bullish. And if I'm looking at spending money, I know there's other people looking at spending more money on this thing. So I can't wait and get some more alpha. Always.
There's a little bit. There's a little bit of a discount on the ETH, right? So it's not bad, right? By the dip, how you feeling?
Feeling great. Like, I just love how this game is so immersed into the story because really, guys, yes, gameplay does make the game, but the story makes the gameplay so much more interesting, so much more fun. And I'm just glad that Jam City has honestly some of the best talent I've ever seen in the gaming industry making this lore. And yeah, definitely bullish on this.
100%. Always bullish. Gonzaga, what do you say?
Just absorbing it. I mean, to be honest, like I know a lot of people are here for the NFT side of stuff. I'm here for the game. And, you know, after talking with Ryan and just the lore, I'm just super bullish about the game. And I can't wait to play it.
Such a perfect team. I'm so glad to be here. Vita G, you can take us out. What you got?
All right, thank you. So of all my viewers, just want to let you know, I did let the minds know something unexpected is about to happen. So no one knows what's about to happen but me, and I'm excited about that. But I'm just going to be real. No, don't be scared. It's going to be good. We're all going to walk through this together.
We'll be okay? All right.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be okay. But I will be frank. The last month in particular has been absolutely brutal for me financially and mentally. Watching, you know, prices crash and assets get ruined. Maybe impermanently, but still nonetheless. But the thing that I particularly love about Web3 is that we get to choose who we want to be in this space. We don't have to bring the trials and frustrations or the failures of Web 2 or our real lives into this space. But I have, and I have let my fear kind of drive me, and I don't want to live in that, and I, especially in this space, don't want to live in that. So my fear, my financial fears, you know, that I won't have enough, that I won't be enough, that I will fail, is something that I want to dispel. From what little I know about fear and overcoming fear, you one, have to name it, and then you two, need to provide exposure to prove that you can survive it. So with that in mind, I am actually going to be holding a contest for one of my Prime Eternals, number 1911. Gonzaga, if you can pull that one up, that would be awesome. This is a floor PE. It's not necessarily, I call them uglies, not because the actual character is ugly, just because they have the least desirable qualities. But this is a real Prime Eternal with real earning potential. But for me, my financial fears have become a burden, and I want to get rid of them. Get rid of Prime Eternals, the fear, not the Eternals.
Damn, Vita. So you're saying you're going to hold a contest for your 1911 Prime Eternal to give it away? Is that what you're telling us right now?
That is correct. I'm giving away this Prime Eternal, this punk rock ugly.
Bro, that is real money. I'm looking at him. He's cute. I like him a lot.
I love his mohawk.
Green mohawk.
And pink nails. I mean, that's punk rock, dude.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you didn't tell us this, because I probably would have tried to talk you out of it, and I think that's why you didn't say anything.
That's exactly.
I'm like, bro, you don't have to do that. Let's send a fucking t-shirt. Like, what the hell are you doing? Jesus Christ.
That's the joy of Web3. We get to play it the way we want to, right? And so before I announce the rules, I do want to make a couple things very clear. I am not a whale. I have 4 Prime Eternals in total, 3 of which are floors. So this action, as we just talked about, like this is a promise and a penance for me. It's a promise that I won't continue to let my fear and the issues of real life drive me in this space. And it's a penance because I've already done that, and I don't want to. The second thing that I want to say is this is not an official Prime Minds contest, and this should be in no way considered a normal thing to occur during this time. At some point, maybe we will be holding contests, probably not for Prime Eternals, but I just want to level set there. This is me doing an action by myself through this time, but not as an official part of this time. So with that in mind, what I am going to do for this contest in order to get yourself in the running for this contest is my direct messages will be open starting right after this episode until noon Mountain Time on Monday. And you just need to send me a direct message saying how you'll combat your fears and how you're not going to let your Web 2 thinking negatively impact this community. That's all you have to do.
Wow.
Is an open answer. It is a very open-ended question, right? But I will say try to be as specific as possible in your answer. I will build community is not really what I'm hoping for. Like what I really want is for people to do the things that they're saying and not just say the things that they're saying, which is something that I do in normal life all the time. So being specific and measurable are great ways to build a objective that you can actually achieve. Couple last.
There it is.
And I said a couple last things. I know I'm not trying to drag this out. I want to like.
No, go ahead.
I'm
Captain. I'm listening right now. I'm like, wow. Go ahead. Keep going.
I will say this is obviously a subjective thing, right? Like I am asking for you to give me your ideas about something. I will try to be as objective as possible when I'm looking at the ones that get submitted. That being said, I do have some things that I will not accept. I will not accept any links or anything that I have to click on. Your answer has to be in plain text in the direct message. I also please 1 entry per person. I have no idea how many people are actually going to do this. So this is just me working by myself. So I'm hoping I can get through them in the next week. And I would say, Ryan, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. What do you think? Is like 50 words? Is that a good, do you think that's a good space for someone to tell what they're going to do?
Conquer their fears.
Yeah, 50 words. It's brief, but you can tell. Get the message across.
Okay, so you got to be.
I'll write like 10 pages if you let me. So I'm not the best person to ask.
I do not want 10 pages. Like if you want to send me 10 pages later just to like talk about it, I'm good with that. But for the purposes of me actually being able to work through this in a reasonable time frame, let's keep it to 50 words.
50 words, yeah.
That's that. I might have some follow-up questions for you if you reach out, if you choose to jump into this contest. And my one of my end goals is also to do a little bit of a thematic analysis on this and maybe have like a word cloud or something to just show like this is what our community values and these are the things that we want to move forward together on. So I'm going to stop talking. Thank you all for bearing with me. I'm stoked to announce this. Thank you all so much, as always, for joining us today, and let's build it better.
That's amazing, Vita. Wow.
I got a question for you, Vita. Do you want to announce this in the Discord, or do we want to have everybody link to this episode so they can get all of Ryan's info and your special little information at the end of the video?
So I've tossed this back and forth a couple times. It's a great question. Ultimately, what the point of this contest is not necessarily to drive traffic to Prime Minds. While I do think that is an awesome secondary goal, I don't want people to view this as like I'm just doing this because I want this podcast to get bigger. That's not the goal, the ultimate goal. So I am actually just going to run it through Discord. I'm going to run everything through Discord. I thought about announcing the winner on the next episode, but I don't want people to take it in the wrong spirit. So that's been my choice on that.
Vita, wow, you are, yeah. I am shocked. I'm excited. I think you just dropped a lot of wisdom for everybody listening. Exactly. I'm on board. I love that you're doing this. This is amazing. Okay, yeah, I think maybe you'll put that in writing on Discord. Folks, if you want to look up, his name is Vita G, VITAG, in the Champions Ascension Discord. Any champion's a champion, right? And a prime is a prime. This thing, when you stake it, will give you the Massina to buy land, to do a lot of the cool things, and we're bullish on this game. This is a wonderful contest. Vita, you are the man for this. Thanks for the good words. Thanks for the wisdom. Thanks for this contest. I have nothing more to say. Thanks to Ryan. Thanks to everybody listening. Thanks to the Prime Minds. I love doing it. Love being here. We will see you next week. And as you know, as always, Prime Minds think alike. We're out.